Hey everyone, you're watching another episode of Ash on Comics. My name is Ash, and here's today's comic, Heroes in Crisis number 8. This is a interesting review video. It's the only time I've ever done a review that's actually a part 2. I did a part 1 that established some context about things I wanted to talk about on this video. You may or may not need that context. You may be a super scholar of DC comic lore like my friend Eric Breen, who watches the show, good friend of the channel, or Sergeant Bats, knows quite a bit about comic history and DC history. I do not, but I don't look at that as a weakness. I look at that as my particular strength. People like that cannot bring a new set of eyes to the table, which is the perspective, only someone like myself can do. And that's what I try to do. I try to use my knowledge of comics as a whole, as a medium, but as a newbie to DC when it comes to talking about DC books. All right, so this is Heroes in Crisis. I have been a supporter of this book. When issue 1 came out, lots of people were just like, oh, this is trash and all this stuff. And I was like, oh no, this is a good book. And it was. I still stand by that. And I can argue it. I'm very confident in my opinion of that book. It's a great book. Now, it doesn't mean subjectively that everyone should like it. It does things in the book that legitimately fans go, I don't like where you went with that direction with that character. Fair enough, right? No one can ever argue subjective reaction. Like, if you see a story in a different way, if it relates to you in a weird way, like that's fine. That's your take. We all have different life experiences, and we're all going to see things in stories that are different than everyone else. And that's one of the reasons I love talking about comics, because I like trying to get behind someone else's eyeballs and try to understand, like, oh, how are you viewing this? How you obviously have a different angle than me. Sorry for the dog in the background, just deciding to shake her collar all around, make a bunch of noise. They'd love attention. All right, so here we get Batman, Last Night on Earth. I'm looking forward to that, actually. All right. Had a little break there. Someone came to the door. And now I'll pick up where I left off. It's always tough when I had like 10-minute conversation and now I forget what I was doing. So it totally breaks the flow. And we'll work this out. My reviews aren't that great anyway. So, my name is Wally West. I'm the fastest man alive. This is my confession. If you watched part 1 of my video, already, look at this tone. Look at this face. Feel this character. This does not feel at all like the inspirational, hopeful, never give up attitude Wally West that we just went over. This is messed. What is up with those eyes, by the way? Here we get a little bit of the, I don't want to say pretentious, but a throwback to the things I hated about this story, like this guy. Oh, look, even demons can love each other. I was there at Sanctuary. I'd been there for 3 weeks. Well, a little over 3. I was there to recover. Maybe recover isn't the best word. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not great with words. You were freaking awesome with words in that last book that I just read called DC Universe Rebirth #1. You were amazing with words. I was tearing up. I was there to stop hiding. I think that's better. Whatever the opposite of hiding is, I was there to do that. Some people have mistaken this for Wally. This is Arsenal. But it's easy to see why the mistake. I mean, so I just want to clear that up in case you, because it's not your fault if you didn't. You can see why, but just some people are like, oh, why is Wally West doing drugs? Well, it's not, but still, anyways, moving along. I had to look at myself, see why things had hit me so hard, use the chambers to help find the moments that consumed me, or that I was maybe ignoring, or both. And I was starting to get there, I was reliving things. I was seeing things, who I was. It was good. I was getting there, I think. But there was a problem. It's not anyone's fault. It's my fault. I know, my problem. I'm not blaming anyone. That's not what this is about. I swear, it's my problem. I was alone. And Sanctuary kept telling me that I wasn't. That whatever I was going through, a lot of others go through, and it's no big deal. It's every day. It's everyone. It's just your turn now. We're all heroes. We're all struggling. We're all in this together. All of that. But, and this is the thing, and it's stupid, but it's the thing, so I have to tell you. I didn't believe it. I'm sorry. I know it's stupid, but that's what it was. I felt like this pain can't be in others, or I'd know. I'd see it on them, like they had been seeing it on me. Okay, part of this isn't actually as bad as all that. As someone who is experiencing a lot of pain in their life and going through things, I can sort of relate to parts of these things. And I don't want to get too personal, but it's easy to feel, because I know that I put on a facade. And when people look at me, they don't understand, because I don't want them to understand. Maybe, I don't know. It's too deep for this conversation, but the point being is, I do think Tom King can write, and I do think he's onto something. And I do think, honestly, that this might be the second best book that he's written in this miniseries. Whoa, Ash, what the hell are you talking about? Now, stay with me. I just mean that from a writing standpoint, not at all with a caretaker of the characters, okay? There's a difference. And I think Richard Meyer, in his review, touched on this. I don't know why it hit me that way. Maybe other people are like that, but it hit me. I was the crazy one. Everyone else was cool and I was messed up. I knew it. In my heart, as stupid as that, I knew it. Everyone else was fine. Everyone else got better, and I was sick. Blah, 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 blah. He does get a little bit too wordy here. And that's part of Tom. This is part of all pretentious writers. They don't know when to shut up because they're so impressed with themselves that they think that their words, the more words that they're putting, is like better. It's not like an artist who draws a picture and then goes, oh, I'm going to add more detail, and he gives like this big Jeff Darrow masterpiece, and you're like, look at how amazing that is. It took me 5 months to draw. Like, it's not the same with writing. More words doesn't make it better, right? In fact, efficiency is the key. The less words you can use to communicate, the better. And I mean that by like, not just use, no words. The using the minimum amount of words. Like, you want to skim that fat. I had some thoughts, stupid thoughts. I thought it must be fake. I thought the whole thing was a setup. All the Sanctuary was just for me. Some hero said that they'd gone through it, so what? They say that for me. They're heroes. They do whatever it takes to save people. That's their everyday. Wally West, you are a hero. You're the symbol of hope. I get it that you look up to them as heroes too, but people look up to you. And Tom King, that's the important person to know this. You should know. So he keeps explaining what he was doing and all his motivations. And like I said, it's extraordinarily wordy, which is the pretentiousness. And his problem here is that he doesn't believe that people are going through things. So, and since it's all anonymous, all the other people at the Sanctuary, he decides to violate their privacy and go spy on them. How? Well, because he's so super fast, before the data is deleted, he's able to go get it somehow and then parse it all back together and then assimilate it. I don't know how he can assimilate it because a video can only be watched in real time. But whatever, that doesn't make any sense, but it's comics, I guess. I'll just, okay, go with the flow. But here's the problem. The problem isn't these editorial mistakes of like, oh, well, the Flash really wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, that is a problem. That's a trivial, just like, oh, that's a plot hole. The real problem is, why is Wally West spying on people? When did he become, the watcher in the window? Like, that's creepy. Why are you making Wally West creepy? I was weak for an instant, and I decided in an instant, and in an instant, I was everywhere, collecting blah, 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 blah. Then I realized I wasn't alone. Oh, look, I'm not alone. It's true. Everyone, it's going through problems like me. And then it broke me. So, Wally West is broken because he's alone. When he finds out he's not alone, he's broken. So, in other words, he's just a terrible, broken character. Now, I said before, this is probably the second best story. That's not saying a terrible lot because there's only a couple of good stories, a couple of good issues of this whole series. If this was not Wally West, if this was just random generic character, if all these people are just random generic characters we never heard of, there'd be something here. If this story didn't affect the DC continuity, if it didn't contradict things like I had just shown you in the DC universe, there'd be something here. Now, it wouldn't necessarily be something I want to read, or most people that are complaining about this book want to read, because the psychological deconstruction, therapeutic, cathartic therapy session that Tom King is doing in his own books, like try to work out some problems that he's having, is not what comics are for. Like, it's not what most people buy comics. Certainly not mainstream superhero comics. You want to do some indie, weird, experimental book? By all means, go do that. And people that want to read those books, by all means, get that audience. Wally West is not your tool to do that. The DC Universe is not your tool. Here's the thing that speedsters don't tell you. The Speed Force is a gift, the greatest power. But it's also, and I'm not complaining, yes you are, I'm just saying, it's a burden. Is it more of a burden than hanging out in the Speed Force, lost, presumably for eternity, about to die with no hope for years and years and years, all alone? Is it more of a burden than that? I don't know. I mean, the Wally West that I saw was facing the greatest challenge of his life, and he was still hopeful, and all he cared about was doing that one last courageous act to save his friends and to save everyone. Didn't once think about himself, didn't once complain about how much of a burden it was. That Wally West. Jeff Johns needs to be editor-in-chief of DC Comics, because Jeff Johns would have told Tom King, no, this is not how you write Wally West. If you want to create your own character to get your emotional issues out on, we can talk about that and maybe give you a Vertigo book. But go read DC Universe Rebirth #1, Tom, and understand what even a normie like this guy filming this video understands about Wally West. So he talks about, just trapped down, this emotional breakdown. I can't. And after that, after seeing all that hurt for the first time that day, that second, I lost control. No! Now, other people have called Wally a murderer. Oops. This is not a murder. This is a guy losing control And at most, it's accidental manslaughter. Murder is intent. Wally didn't intend to murder these people. Okay? He does murder someone, though. And we'll get to that. I could forgive this. I don't think this is correct. I blame the editors for allowing this to happen. But whatever. You want to go into there that Wally has gotten so much speed force power, whatever. I can bite into that. I can swallow that down. Okay? He accidentally killed all these people. Okay. That's not the problem. It's where we go from there. And where do we go? Okay. I went fast. I went inside. I was looking for something that might help. I had reprogrammed Sanctuary. I had control of it. I had checked it. And I saw them. They hadn't come out. For whatever reason, they were there. Then I started to think real fast. Started to understand what I could do. What I had to do with their help. With Booster Gold and Harley Quinn. What does he do? Yep, he frames them. Using his super speed, he moves the bodies around, reprograms all the stuff, makes it so that each one of them saw a virtual reality version of the other killing Wally West. How is Wally West dead? Simple. Because he goes somehow into the future, meets his other self, and murders himself. Then takes the body back into the past and plants it. So here is where Wally West is a murderer. He's a murderer, and he framed it on his friend. And, well, Harley Quinn really does deserve to go away forever, but still doesn't mean you get to put false murders on her. What the literal fuck is going on? Here we get to see going planning all this stuff. I mean, listen to this. I brought the body back to the past, moving faster than I can imagine. I set up the other bodies, set up the murders. I made it look like it could have been done by either Harley or Booster. I spent my life working with the greatest crime scene inspector of all time. I knew what clues to leave. I knew exactly what assumption Barry would make, what assumption he'd miss, and then Batman would make. Does any of this sound like the Wally West that I just went over, the DC Universe Rebirth? Like, it is fundamentally different. This is the insight of a psychopathic mad person. It's the opposite of the Wally that we just saw. You don't have to be a 20-year fan of Wally West like Sergeant Bats to know this. You have yet to just read one single issue of the greatest creator that maybe DC has ever had. And you done fucked it up, as my friend Angry Joe would say. You done fucked it up. Man, sorry for the cursing if you're offended by that. Then he talks about the puddle, what the puddlers all meant, and it's like, we don't even care at this point what this was intriguing in the beginning. Oh, who's the puddlers? What is this all about? Now I don't care. Now I'm just so disgusted at this point. And I'm not disgusted because it's a badly written book. It's not it is a little pretentious. I keep saying, look, if this was in a vacuum, if these were just generic characters, this would be an interesting experiment of a story, and it would then be up to your subjective reaction on whether you liked it or not. But this is unforgivable of what you're doing with Wally West. And it's just unbelievable, especially considering that book that I just went over with in the first part, that book was the foundation of your entire universe, DC Rebirth. You know that thing that fixed DC New 52 that everyone hated? DC Rebirth, that thing that got you to have multiple top books above Marvel for the first time in how long? How is Dan Didio not fired? How do these people have jobs? The bodies, Booster, Harley, their fight, the puddler, it worked. It distracted everyone, made everyone focus on the murders that weren't and the suspects that didn't. And meanwhile, despite what I had done, I was free. See, it gave me time. It gave me 5 days. 5 days from the moment I lost control. 5 days until I'd come and kill myself. 5 days. 5 days. 5 days for me to do something good as what I'd done bad. 5 days, Miss Lane, for me to finally tell the truth. You think telling the truth is as good as what you've done bad? Is that what I'm led to believe? I don't know. It's to be continued. This is my mantra. There's one more book to go. When everyone was pissed off on issue number 1 of what was happening, and I said, no, wait. Put all those feelings in a bottle for a moment. Wait till the whole story plays out, because sometimes you can jump to conclusions, and then you got pie on your face, or there's egg on your face. I don't know. But, yeah, looks like they're right. Everyone who was a hater of this book so far has been proven right. There's one more issue to come. Maybe there's some hope. We saw in a DC Rebirth that, the future has been seen. Everything's going to be all right. But this doesn't look like it's all right. So, this is basically a terrible book. My subjective reaction to this book is 1 out of 5 stars. In a vacuum, just as the quality of the writing and art and everything, I would give this a 3 out of 5. I think I've explained why. You go, look, I hate it too. I hate what they're doing. But it's... who am I kidding? This is a shit book. Can't rip it up because, well, I guess I could. I don't rip up books, but I could. Would that make people feel better? I don't think it would. Batman who laughs. What is he planning? How will Lex Luthor? Who's Leviathan? I don't care. I want to know the Doomsday Clock. Let's finish up the shit he started. You're the villain. Where's Wally West? He's missing from the picture.